Madeleine McCann's disappearance continues to make headlines 17 years later. On May 3, 2007, the 3-year-old British girl went missing while her family was vacationing in Praia da Luz, Lagos, Portugal. Her parents, Jerry and Kate McCann, were dining with friends nearby as Madeleine and her 2-year-old twin siblings were sleeping in their bedroom. After periodically checking in on their kids throughout the night, Madeleine's mother discovered that her daughter was missing at 10 p.m. and authorities were alerted, prompting a worldwide search for the toddler. While there have been several developments in the case over the years, including German authorities considering Christian Bruckner as the prime suspect, what actually happened that night remain unknown. Recently, German authorities said they've discovered an email account belonging to Bruckner that is related to the killing. Bruckner has, however, never been charged and has denied any involvement in connection with the case. Here's a complete timeline of Madeleine's disappearance case and what her parents have said over the years. On the night of May 3, 2007, Madeleine went missing in Praia da Luz, Lagos, Portugal. Her family was staying at a vacation apartment at the time. That night, her parents left Madeleine and her twin siblings, who were 2 at the time, asleep in the ground floor apartment as they dined with friends close by. The parents periodically checked in on the kids, but at 10 p.m., Kate discovered Madeleine was missing. Authorities were alerted, and in the days following, border police and airport staff were put on alert as volunteers joined in a search for Madeleine. The next day, Madeleine's parents spoke out publicly about their daughter's disappearance, making an emotional plea for their daughter's safe return. "Words cannot describe the anguish and despair that we are feeling as the parents of our beautiful daughter Madeleine," Jerry said. "Please, if you have Madeleine," he said, "let her come home to her mummy, daddy, brother and sister. As everyone can understand how distressing the current situation is, we ask that our privacy is respected, to allow us to continue assisting the police in their current investigation." In the months following, the Portuguese police began their initial inquiry. Though there were several leads, no official suspects were named. Jane Tanner, who had been dining with the McCanns, claimed to have seen a man carrying a child while she was on her way back from checking on her own daughter around 9:15 p.m. The Portuguese police also faced scrutiny in the early months of the investigation, with some calling out their lack of urgency and poor protocol in securing the crime scene. Notably, in June, a Portuguese police chief admitted that vital forensic clues were likely destroyed, as the scene was not protected properly. The following month, British detectives aided in the search and dispatched investigators to search the apartment with luminol, a substance that glows when it interacts with blood. When they arrived, they found that the apartment the McCanns had stayed at had already been cleaned and rented out again. Though traces of blood were found on the wall in the bedroom, DNA testing showed that the blood belonged to an unidentified man. In August 2007, after months of searching for Madeleine, police acknowledged publicly for the first time that Madeleine may be dead. The following month, there was a new twist in the case. Madeleine's parents were named arguidos, or formal suspects, in Madeleine's disappearance. Police accused the couple of hiding Madeleine's body after she died in an accident while the couple was at dinner. Though the investigation delved into potential charges of abduction, homicide, exposure or abandonment of a child, and concealment of a corpse, the parents were eventually cleared as suspects in July 2008. A year after her disappearance, Madeleine's parents gave an impromptu speech at their local church. They said that they feared the 1-year anniversary of their daughter's disappearance could be their last opportunity to find her, and asked the congregation to pray like mad for their little girl. When the McCanns' arguido status was lifted, the Portuguese Attorney General ordered a halt to the investigation. The Attorney General's office has hereby decided to archive the investigation into the case of Madeleine McCann, due to lack of any evidence of any crime being committed by the arguidos, Attorney General Fernando José Pinto Montero said in a statement. In his statement, Montero noted that the Attorney General's office reserved the right to reopen the investigation, or upon request from an interested party, should there be legitimate cause or significant new evidence emerge. In May 2011, Madeline's parents released a book about their daughter and the case of her disappearance. The decision to publish this book has been very difficult and taken with heavy hearts. My reason for writing it is simple: to give an account of the truth, Kate said, per the book's official description. Jerry's statement called upon the police force to re-energize the search for our daughter. He hoped the public will get behind the Find Madeline campaign once again. He added, "It is simply not acceptable that the authorities have given up on Madeline, especially when no comprehensive review of the case has been undertaken. Our daughter, and whoever took her, are out there. We need your help to find them." In October 2013, Portuguese police reopened their inquiry into the disappearance of Madalina, with Portugal's Attorney General noting that new elements of evidence justified the continuation of the investigation. At the time, Madeline's parents said they were very pleased by the Portuguese inquiry, saying, "We hope that this will finally lead to her being found and to the discovery of whoever is responsible for this crime." In June 2020, 13 years after Madeline's disappearance, German authorities identified Christian Bruckner, a man in his 40s, as a suspect in the case. He has denied having anything to do with Madeline's disappearance, per the Evening Standard, and ultimately was not charged due to a lack of evidence. Bruckner had previously received a 7-year sentence for raping a 72-year-old American woman in 2005 in Portugal, according to court documents, which he was appealing from behind bars for another drug conviction. In April 2022, Portuguese prosecutors announced there was an official suspect in the case of Madeline's disappearance. At the time, authorities did not name the person, but said that he was identified as a suspect after they acted on a request made by German and British police. It remains unclear if Bruckner was the official suspect, or if it was someone new. In June 2024, authorities discovered a Hotmail account belonging to Bruckner, which they say is directly related to Madeline's disappearance. Titus Stampa, a detective with Germany's Federal Crime Police, told a court authorities found a second email account he used to share photos and videos of child abuse, and that emails from that account were deleted in early 2007 when Madeline disappeared. Things were massively deleted in the inbox. There was nothing in there from January 2007, he testified. Madalina Cojocari, 11, walked off her school bus November 21, 2022, and has not been seen since. Now, North Carolina law enforcement have just officially named her mother, Diana Cojocari, a suspect in her disappearance. "We want to find Madalina," the Cornelius Police Department wrote in a social media post in which they shared an updated missing person poster depicting both Madalina and her mother. "This has been our priority since we learned she was missing." Cojocari reported the 6th grader missing weeks after she was last seen on December 15, 2022. 2 days later, both Madalina's mother and her stepfather, Christopher James Palmater, were arrested and charged with failing to report her disappearance. On May 31st, a Charlotte, NC, jury found Palmater guilty of the charge after 14 minutes of deliberation. He was sentenced to 30 months of supervised probation. His lawyer said he planned to appeal the sentence. By then, the outlet reported, Cojocari, who had already pleaded guilty for failing to report her daughter missing, had been released, having served 510 days behind bars, completing her sentence of 6 to 17 months in prison. The couple has blamed each other for the delay in reporting. Cojocari said she had feared her husband's reaction per court documents. For his part, Palmater, who allegedly drove to Michigan around the time Madalina went missing, per those court documents, claimed through his lawyers at trial that Cojocari had manipulated him into the false belief that his stepdaughter was safe. Phone and email records presented at his trial suggested Palmater was aware of Madalina's disappearance. That November day, the 4-foot 10-inch girl who weighed 90 lbs and loved horses got off her school bus in the small suburban town of Cornelius, NC, wearing a white t-shirt, jeans, jacket, and pink, purple, and white Adidas shoes, according to authorities, who released the surveillance footage. In the days after she was reported missing, hundreds of investigators, including the FBI, had taken on the case, pursuing nearly 250 leads and interviewing people across state lines and outside of the US. But they couldn't find Madalina. One of the challenges in this case, simply put, we were not notified she was gone. A delay of 3 weeks, Thompson had said. Madalina's body has never been found. And, at his spring trial, her stepdad said it would likely stay that way. I think Diana took her somewhere with her Moldovan family, Palmater said. I believe Diana has tucked her away somewhere where she's not going to be found.